Did you ever dream of being an astronaut, a superhero, or a pirate when you were little? But then you grew up and these dreams seemed to just fade away? What if I told you you don't have to give them up? And in a way, this is what this video is all about. Keeping those big dreams alive no matter where you're at in your life. 2 years ago, my co-founder and I decided to follow our dream. We left our job at a top tech company to start our startup. 3 months into this journey, Ferruccio and I were eating the cheapest sandwiches we could find in Paris. And that's when we decided to apply to Combinator, the US-based accelerator that offered $125K in funding. After putting a lot of love into a written application, we got selected for the 10-minute interview. The interview had started and we were flying through. We had prepared just enough and were confident with our business. But 8 minutes in, Michael, one of the partners in the room, looked at us and said,
"I don't think you make this happen. This isn't a product problem, it's a people problem. No matter how good is the product you build, people won't adopt it. Organizations are inefficient and would rather throw humans at this problem rather than buy a solution."
The Zoom ended. My co-founder and I looked at each other. We had prepared for everything, but not for that. We were speechless. Then Ferruccio laughed nervously, and so did I. The day after, Michael called me. During the interview debrief with the other YC partners, they discussed that almost systematically the YC batches have issues using analytics tools. And so after second thought, they agreed with our thesis that most analytics were just too complicated to be used by everyone daily. And just like that, we got into the Winter 21 batch and got the chance to pursue our dream. Welcome to these 2 series videos on how to get into YC. My name is Enzo and I'm the co-founder of June, the next-gen analytics for B2B SaaS. 2 years ago, my co-founder and I got the chance to do YC. Since then, I've helped dozens of startups with their application in my free time. This exercise led me to realize that there isn't much transparent and honest playbooks on how to get into YC on the internet. So to fix that, I've decided to create 2 videos. If you're just joining, this is the second video of my YC series. In this video, I'm going to share how to nail the 10-minute interview. It's the second and the last step of the application process. If you're looking for tips on the interview itself, then you're in the right place. Without further wait, let's dive in. The banana mindset. Before we dive into the tips and the tactics, a word on the mindset. You made it to the interview. This is amazing. The acceptance rate for the interviews is around 5% depending on the year, and then about a third get in. This is a lower overall acceptance rate than Harvard. So be proud of yourself. The other great news is that even if you don't get in, the quality of the feedback you're gonna receive is great. YC takes the time to explain in detail what they think isn't robust enough when passing on a startup that had the interviews. So at least you'll be able to use this information to improve, but that's the least. Ideally, you'll get in. For that, you want to adopt what I call the banana mindset. You want to put a large smile on your face, the kind that has the shape of a banana. Showing some enthusiasm and being truly excited to reach the interview doesn't make you seem simple-minded. It makes you appear energetic and positive, which are 2 strengths that great founders have in common and that are contagious. When you enter that interview with the banana smile on your face, you're starting with a head start already. The preparation. YC is clear that you shouldn't be practicing for this interview, but this is kind of only half true. Okay, so why are they saying that? There are 2 reasons why you shouldn't practice. If you practice for this interview, it means you're not spending your time where you should be spending it, which is building your company. Another reason not to practice too much is that you won't sound natural, and that can really hurt the perception that YC partners have of you since they ask you not to practice. YC also has a reason to ask you not to practice, which is outside of your interests. For YC, asking everyone not to practice is the only way to judge people on an equal basis. And if no one practices, they're comparable. But if people can practice, the people who practices the most gets an edge, and that process becomes biased. Okay, so what should you do? If you've never seen what an interview looks like and you don't prepare at least a little bit, then chances are things will go badly. The YC interview is a very unique format. So my advice is to practice just a little bit, even though they say not to. The YC interview follows some sort of normal distribution where 0 training will hurt you a lot and training too much will also hurt you. Practice just enough to be familiar with the process, but not too much so you don't sound robotic and like you know everything that is coming up. Practice something like half a day and rehearse 2-3 times max with other founders that went through YC. The 10-second rule. So there is an unspoken rule that everyone who applies to YC needs to know. I call it the 10-second rule. For each question, you should aim for a 10-second answer max. During the interviews, partners are there to assess as many aspects as your business as possible, all within only 10 minutes. This only works if you're able to answer concisely. This means that for every answer, you should lead with a short sentence that directly answers the question. When you answer a question in less than 10 seconds, you're scoring points. Not only was your answer concise and clear, but the partners understood you, and now they're able to explore another discussion point. I mentioned it in the previous video about the written application, but in short, to get into YC, you need to sound smart. That means answering the question exactly, using very simple words. So how does a 10-second answer look like? Let me share a few examples and you'll get it. If the question was how will you make money, our answer was we're a SaaS, we charge monthly based on the volume of data. How many users do you have? Our answer was 10 beta customers, 4 of which are paying. We would stop there. If the partners wouldn't cut us, we would count as beta customers, people that have onboarded on June and that use our product at least once a week. There are a lot of questions you can get, and the partners add or remove questions each year. They also add a bunch of funny questions toward the end to make sure that you haven't prepared for every scenario. Luckily, a lot of startups have shared the questions they were asked. So I've compiled a list of the questions that are frequently asked, so you don't have to look for them on the internet. You can find the link in the description. The first question. Questions are randomized, but one question is almost always the same, and it's the first question. Usually, partners ask you, what are you doing? Or what are you building? The reason why YC partners lead with this question is because they need to understand what you're doing to dive deeper into your business. Even though they've read your application, this question sets the discussion and lets them hear firsthand the description of your business. This question is the only one where you can spend more than 10 seconds. And in my opinion, you can take a good 15 or 20 seconds to answer it. And the reason is simple. They need to know what you do, so they're less likely gonna interrupt you. Also, you just open a conversation, and so they're getting all your languages and building this initial impression about you, which again buys you a few more seconds to deliver the message. A good answer to these questions leaves no follow-up questions. So you can train on people around you and try to get to a version where there is no follow-up questions. For that, a great approach could be an analogy, like we are Uber for pet grooming, or a basic description, such as we deliver a credit card and a gamified mobile app for adolescents. There are multiple ways to clarify what you do, but the best is to practice multiple versions until people get it. The typical mistakes is to pitch your high-level vision instead of what you currently do. If the partners want to know your vision, they will ask you something like, where is the billion-dollar opportunity? And that time you can answer with your vision. But for this first question, answer with the facts. The facts are always easier for the brain to process. For example, we are a next-gen fintech platform for underage is less clear than we deliver a credit card and a gamified mobile app for adolescents. More ways to clarify your business could be your market, such as we're in the delivery market, your value propositions, such as we're fast, your audience, we do it for X, your pricing, we are free for the smaller restaurants, etc. Your vertebrae. When partners leave the room, I like to think that they will remember only 2 or 3 things max about you. Don't forget, they're conducting interviews all day, likely with one before and one after yours. So your goal is to identify the 2 or 3 most exciting aspects of your business and make sure you highlight these points during the interview, regardless of the question they will ask you. Let me give you an example. One of our distinctions at June was having an A-team of former employees from Intercom, which is a great tech company. We knew we wanted to highlight this point, so we prepared it as far as a few answers we had, even to questions that didn't directly ask about the team background. For instance, when we were asked, what are you doing? Our answer was, we're former Intercom employees building a plug-and-play product analytics for B2B SaaS. When the question was, what do you know that others don't? Our answer would be, we're former Intercom employees with hands-on experience, and through that journey, we learned that most B2B SaaS companies pay for analytics products, but barely use them. So you see in these 2 cases, I introduced the concept that we were an A-team, even though I wasn't really asked about it, and it kind of felt natural, right? So of course we wouldn't repeat that 2 times, But by the end of the interview, we would make sure that that message went through at least once. Your goal is to identify the 2-3 main strengths about your business and make sure to message them through. This could be your market, your team, your business model, your pricing, your product, your restaurant growth, the timing, the legal aspect, etc. Next, the founders balance. Creating the right balance between the founders during the interview is crucial. YC insists that all the founders participate in the interview, and they do that to assess the entire team. This can be challenging as typically one person can answer a question at a time, leading to potential awkward moments where 2 or more people might hesitate, unsure of who should respond. To prevent this, divide the questions among the founders ahead of the interview, based on your area of expertise. For example, the CEO could handle questions about the business strategy and the market approach, while the technical co-founder could address the technical questions and the questions related to the team. It is important not to interrupt each other. This could indicate a lack of alignment among the founders. Similarly, contradicting each other is a red flag, suggesting insufficient communication within the team. Ideally, you want to show that the team has a clear leader too. Typically, that means the CEO should answer 70, 80, maybe 90% of the questions, and every founder should contribute to the conversation. A silence from any member could be interpreted as a discomfort with public speaking or a lack of engagement. The demo. It is not common to be asked for a demo during the YC interview, but it's a possibility, especially if there are questions about the technical feasibility of your project. Therefore, be ready to quickly present a demo and guide them through it efficiently. That's everything you need to know to ace the 10-minute interview with YC. This guide has been instrumental in our successful application to YC in 2021 and has proven effective repeatedly, as I've advised numerous startups over the past years. For further learning, there are ample resources online, but 2 stands out that I highly recommend checking out in the resource section. More Tips by Gary Chan and the inside tweet from Michael Sibel from a couple of years ago. I hope you found this information helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you have any additional tips or questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comment section below. Until the next video, take care. Bye.